long time, I didn't disclose my history in a lot of the jobs that I did and a lot of work that I did. And I felt proud about the work that I did during those periods because it wasn't about me. And a lot of times we as professionals, we get out there and it doesn't become about the client in the group. It becomes about me in the group. And it's about what I did, where I was, the jail time that I did, what I'm doing now, and, you know, all of those things. So I really found ways to get away from that and start using evidence-based practices that are out there in MI, CBT, NET, you know, and all the other different, come on, it's social work students, right? Come on. Anyway, where we at? Columbia? I thought this was Hunter. Never mind. that was a shot.
Let me push you a bit.
Please.
So, I always say that the behaviors that allow you to survive in prison are the ones that will help you fail in society. And that's because it's difficult to survive in prison. You learn certain behaviors to avoid the pitfalls, right? And one of them is, for instance, not snitching, right? And we have this culture of you shouldn't be snitching. Yet, when you move into the professional arena, right, the word is not snitching, but you do have a certain responsibility as a professional. And I have found some staff that have a difficult time making that transition from being formerly incarcerated, moving into the professional world, have a range of skills, which is the reason they get hired in the first place, but then have a difficult time overcoming some of the skills that they picked up in prison to survive and applying and getting rid of them so that they're more effective in the workplace. Did you struggle with that, or have you seen other people struggle with that?
I think early in my career, I was surrounded by a good group of people who we processed after every group. So we were at Network in the Community, and after we ran a group, we would process what we talked about. I had very good mentors. I had very good field instructors when I was in KSAC school. I had a mentor named Ruth Smith, who was an MSW. As a matter of fact, she was a CSW, and this was in 1991. I didn't know anything about what that meant at that time, but I was getting clinical training very early in my career. So when someone faced the issue of me having to call their parole officer, I said, listen, I would do you a disservice if I don't let your parole officer know that your urine is dirty, that you are not keeping your program appointments as you're supposed to, if you're not doing what you're supposed to, if you're facing some difficulties in the community, I would not be helping you if I didn't let that information be known. I mean, those are the things that I kind of really focused on.
That's very helpful, and I appreciate the story about the dirty urine, although I've never seen clean urine in my life. But thank you for making that point, 'cause that's exactly
positive toxicology.
Yeah, thank you. That's exactly the point I wanted you to make, because you know, I mentioned the ACS example earlier, but we also run alternative to incarceration programs at Fortune, at Osborne. And you have a responsibility. If you want to get another client out of the system, then you have to report back to the judge and back to the prosecutor and so on when a person doesn't follow the rules of the program. And often we run up against formerly incarcerated staff members who have a difficult time making that transition. So I appreciate you talking about the supports that you were exposed to early on in your career that helped you to make that transition. Hopefully that's a lesson for the audience. Hazel, so the question I asked earlier was about how do we move away from just applying Band-Aids and how do we go upstream and figure out where all these bodies are coming from, right? The idea of how do we address barriers, how do we take what would the approach be to addressing the systemic barriers?
Well, of course, there's a traditional approach that agencies, research agencies, policy agencies.
Just speak up just a tiny bit.
Okay. I said, of course, there's a traditional approach that we've taken. We identify areas where we feel there needs to be progressive policies. We go up and we do our lobby days. We are successful in some areas, and other areas we are not. It's not as far-reaching as we want it to be. And every year we mobilize organizations and we mobilize people to go up to Albany and to do all of the different lobbying that all of us are quite familiar with and that we participate in. But yet, we're just like holding up the skies from falling in our hands. And sometimes we question ourselves every day.